Well, well, well. Look who it is. So, it's good to see everybody. We are going in. I wanted to show you just another feature of my amazing Schoology page. If you just go in here and it says this week's TDA and you click it, you get the week's TDA. Just another little convenience I provide because I'm an overall convenient person. All right, happy per use, you know that. And let's go into where we left off with this story. All right. So, what's going on? Panchito, he's working for the family. All right. So, let's go ahead and make sure that we take care of this page, page 17. They have found a new slide 17. They found a new place to live, right? They found a new place to work. And then Roberto, his older brother, Panchito's older brother, and his father all go out into the field and they start picking grapes. But here's the catch, and check it out on paragraph 18. I believe it's page 471 in the floppy copy for those of you who didn't come prepared with a computer today. All right, so page 471, paragraph 18. Around 9 o'clock, the temperature had risen to almost 100 degrees. And my question is that safe? Should we be out in that temperature? I was completely soaked in sweat, and my mouth felt as if I'd been chewing on a handkerchief. Imagine that. Gross. I walked over to the end of the row, picked up the jug of water we had brought, and began drinking. Don't drink too much, you'll get sick, Roberto shouted. No sooner had he said that than I felt sick to my stomach. I dropped to my knees and let the jug roll off my hands. I remained motionless with my eyes glued on the hot, sandy ground. All I could hear was the drone of insects. Slowly, I began to recover. Oh, just another one of those adverbs. Slowly, I began, right? So began is the verb there. To recover is an infinitive. I poured water over my face and neck and watched the dirty water run down my arms to the ground, right? Anything about theme? Sure, right? This tough environment that he's working on. I'm going to put my or my light bulb on the sun there. Tells us a little something about the theme, right? What is this an appropriate experience for this dude to be having at his age? I'm not quite sure. I feel like we're developing a theme here. All right, slide 18, please. I still felt dizzy when we took a break to eat lunch. It was past 2 o'clock and we sat underneath a large walnut tree that was on the side of the road. While we ate, Papa jotted down the number of boxes we had picked. Roberto drew designs on the ground with a stick. Suddenly, I noticed Papa's face turn pale as he looked down the road. Here comes the school bus, he whispered loudly in alarm. Instinctively, oh, there's my other ly, describing a verb. What verb? Roberto and I ran. We ran what? Ran instinctively and hid in the vineyards. We did not want to get in trouble for not going to school. The neatly dressed boys about my age got off and they carried books under their arms. After they crossed the street, the bus drove away. Roberto and I came out from hiding and joined Papa. Tienen que tener cuidado, he warned us. All right. Um, Please take a moment to annotate this page. All right, I would set a timer for a minute, and here's a noise that you know that you can start. Welcome back. Hopefully, you had a great annotation time. Now, it's time to take a moment and open up the Vocaroo link on your computer. All you have to do is hold the mouse over these words here. It says, here's the link to vocaroo.com. You click that. Boom, Vocaroo shows up. You click on the microphone and it starts recording your voice. Then you read the part that's underlined in red. Here comes the school bus, he whispered loudly in alarm. Instinctively, Roberto and I ran and hid in the vineyards. We did not want to get in trouble for not going to school. Why would the author, the person who lived through this story, use the word instinctively? Instinctively means to do without thinking, so it means that it's something that you're used to doing, right? Babies don't instinctively react the way that an adult would, right? They might not know to flinch when something happens or to avoid danger. So if instinct is developed, it means that you've had to work on it over time. Then I'm going to go ahead and stop this. I'm going to save and share. I'm going to get the double block there, go over here, put in my Vocaroo, Booyah Grandpa, and then I'm going to go right on to the next slide. You can take a moment to do that now. If you happen to not have Mr. Surface in the room, I would take 2 minutes. Take 2 minutes and go ahead right now. There you go. Slide 20. After lunch, we went back to work. The sun kept beating down, the buzzing insects, the wet sweat, and the hot, dry dust made the afternoon seem to last forever. Finally, the mountains around the valley reached out and swallowed the sun. Within an hour, it was too dark to continue picking. The vines blanketed the grapes, making it difficult to see the bunches. Vamonos, said Papa, signaling to us that it was time to quit work. Papa then took out a pencil and began to figure out how much we had earned for our first day. He wrote down numbers, crossed some out, wrote down some more. Quince, he murmured. When we arrived home, we took a cold shower underneath a water hose, when we then sat down to eat dinner around some wooden crates that served as a table. Mama had cooked a special meal for us. We had rice and tortillas with carne con chile, my favorite dish. Take a moment, please, and annotate this page. Hopefully that was great. Slide 21. The next morning I could hardly move. My body ached all over. I felt little control over my arms and legs. This feeling went on every morning for days until my muscles finally got used to the work. It was Monday, the first week of November. The grape season was over, and I could now go to school. I woke up early that morning and lay in bed, looking at the stars and savoring. Please take a moment and annotate this page. All right. Slide 22. I was savoring the thought of not going to work and starting sixth grade for the first time that year since I could not sleep. I decided to get up and join Papa and Roberto at breakfast. I sat at the table across from Roberto, but I kept my head down. I did not want to look up and face him. I knew he was sad. He was not going to school today. He was not going tomorrow or next week or next month. He would not go until the cotton season was over, and that was sometime in February. I rubbed my hands together and watched the dry, acid-stained skin fall to the floor in little rolls. The acids from what, you might be asking? Well, what were they picking on the previous pages? Please take a moment and annotate the rest of this page. Slide 23. When Papa and Roberto left for work, I felt relief. I walked to the top of a small grade next to the shack and watched the Conchita disappear in the distance in a cloud of dust. 2 hours later, around 8 o'clock, I stood by the side of the road waiting for a school bus number 20. When it arrived, I climbed in. Everyone was busy either talking or yelling. I sat in an empty seat in the back. Please take a moment and annotate this page. Good work. Slide 24. Paragraph 25. When the bus stopped in front of the school, I felt very nervous. I looked out of the bus window and saw boys and girls carrying books under their arms. I put my hands in my pant pockets and walked to the principal's office. When I entered, I heard a woman's voice say, "May I help you?" I was startled. I had not heard English for months. For a few seconds, I remained speechless, and I looked at the lady who waited for an answer. My first instinct was to answer her in Spanish, but I held back. Finally, after struggling for English words, I managed to tell her that I wanted to enroll in the sixth grade. After answering many questions, I was led to the classroom. Please annotate slide 24. Nice work. Slide 25, paragraph 26. Mr. Lima, the sixth grade teacher, greeted me and assigned me a desk. He then introduced me to the class. I was so nervous and scared at that moment when everyone's eyes were on me that I wished I were with Papa and Roberto picking cotton. After taking roll, Mr. Lima gave the class assignment for the first hour. The first thing we have to do this morning is finish reading the story we began yesterday, he said enthusiastically. He walked up to me, handed me an English book, and asked me to read. "We are on page 125, he said politely. When I heard this, I felt my blood rush to my head. I felt dizzy. "Would you like to read?" he asked hesitantly. I opened the book to page 125. My mouth was dry. My eyes began to water. I could not begin. You can read later, Mr. Lima said understandingly. For the rest of the reading period, I kept getting angrier and angrier at myself. I should have read, I thought to myself. Take a moment. We're going to use all of these for the same thing real quick. Please move this to the ly at the end of enthusiastically. Please move this other one to the ly and politely. Please move the question mark to the ly at the end of hesitantly. Please move the light bulb to the end of understandingly. And we're just going to go ahead and leave this here, right? All of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, are all adverbs. Enthusiastically describes said. Politely describes said. Hesitantly describes asked. And understandingly describes said, right? Said, asked, said, and said are all verbs, right? All things you do, all actions. Now you can find a place maybe where you might find the theme with this check mark. Take a moment and find an area where you think there might be a theme or something you could write about for theme on this page. Go ahead. Good job. Slide 26. During recess, I went into the restroom and opened my English book to page 125. I began to read in a low voice, pretending I was in class. There were many words I did not know. I closed the book and headed back to the classroom. Mr. Lima was sitting at his desk correcting papers, and when I entered, he looked up at me and smiled. I felt better. I walked up to him and asked if he could help me with the new words. Gladly, he said. Gladly, by the way, another adverb. The rest of the month, I spent my lunch hours working on English with Mr. Lima, my best friend at school. He's making those connections, right? It's a little strange that it's a teacher, but he's in sort of a unique position here. One Friday during lunch hour, Mr. Lima asked me to take a walk with him to the music room. Do you like music? He asked at me as we entered the building. Yes, I like corridos, I answered. He then picked up a trumpet, blew on it, and handed it to me. The sound gave me goosebumps. Oh, so it's a meaningful thing, right? I knew that sound. I'd heard it in many corridos. How would you like to learn how to play it? He asked. He must have read my face because before I could answer, he added, I'll teach you how to play it during our lunch hours. Oh my gosh, so many good things happening for him. What happens in a story when a lot of good things are happening? Something to think about. Can you please find a connection and ask a question, please? Take the time to do that now. Good job. 32. That day, I could hardly wait to tell Papa and Mama the great news. And as I got off the bus, my little brothers and sisters ran up to meet me. They were yelling and screaming. I thought that they were happy to see me, but when I opened the door to our shack, I saw that everything we owned was neatly packed in cardboard boxes. Please take a moment to annotate this essential page. Welcome back. Now that we've finished the story, it's time to think about theme, right? Theme is the life lesson the author would like his reader to get out of his text. How does Jimenez develop the theme throughout the circuit? All right, well, let's take a look at this word cloud over here. Is there anything there? I see the title, I see family, I see Panchito, I see disconnection, the word theme. What there matches a picture there on the left? Is there anything there on the left that we could write about? Please take a moment just to match the magnifying glasses from left to right. Go ahead and do that now. Slide 29. Take a moment to read just the last paragraph of the story, and then I'd like you to consider this question. Why did the author call this story? He calls it The Circuit in English, but in Spanish he calls the story Cajas de Cartón, or Cardboard Boxes. Take a moment, open up a new Vocaroo, and take care of business for this page, please. Go ahead. We'll pick it up with this essay section tomorrow.